Hey there, I'm Baz, and welcome to this video. Thank you for subscribing, and let's get right into it. If your thoughts won't calm down, and you find yourself trapped in an endless loop of racing thoughts or overthinking, you're in the right place. Stay with me for the next 10 minutes, and I'll demonstrate what I use in order to help de-escalate my overstimulated nervous system. This happens to a lot of people, especially at night. You're tired, you've worked hard, and all you want to do is you want to relax. You go to bed, and then your mind just keeps replaying scenes of the day or starts worrying about what's going on tomorrow, that meeting that you had with your boss. All kinds of things crowd into your head, and you just can't stop engaging with those thoughts. And maybe you also, like myself, experience a somatic type of anxiety at night. I have restless leg syndrome, as well as I feel it spread to the rest of my body, and it just feels so uncomfortable just at the time that I want to go to sleep. And it seems the more that we try to shut down our racing thoughts, the stronger they become, right? If you're feeling that, then I know exactly what it feels like too. And I'm going to share with you now a method I developed in order to help me deal with my overstimulated nervous system. Because anxiety really isn't the cause, it's a symptom. Anxiety is how our body responds to an overstimulated nervous system, a central nervous system. And once we address the root cause or the root source of our anxiety, then we can start to do something about those symptoms that actually manifest in our consciousness. What finally helped me, even though I have a prescription for a medication that helps fight anxiety, and I also have a separate medication for restless leg syndrome, it really does nothing for the overall anxiety itself. It does help to relax me a little bit more and depress my central nervous system, but that's not right for everyone. And so what I developed is kind of a universal approach to de-escalating our overstimulated nervous system. And I call this the 10-minute silent sound reset. Now I realize that silent sound sounds a little opposite, right? Silent and sound. But I'm going to share with you, through the use of silence and a breathing technique that you may have heard of, and a sound therapy that we actually vocalize ourselves, I have found that it is the most effective non-pharmaceutical way to slow down my nervous system and therefore decrease the symptoms of anxiety. So let's get right into it. It'll take about, we'll limit it to about 5 minutes, okay? But I'll tell you why I call it the 10-minute reset and not the 5-minute reset. There are two halves to this practice, and I do call it a practice because a practice is something that you do daily, maybe 2 or 3 times a day if you want. But it's a practice because the reset is a practice because you can do this at any time. If you've just had a bad meeting with your boss, you can go back to your office or cubicle and take 5 to 10 minutes and reset yourself. If you are stuck in traffic in LA Freeway or the New Jersey Turnpike or wherever you happen to live in the world, and you're sitting in your car, instead of growing frustrated, you could practice the 10-minute silent sound reset. Now, it doesn't place you in a trance or you don't alter your consciousness, nothing like that. So in order to do that, though, I have to demonstrate it to you. I can't just tell you how to do it. So I'm going to demonstrate it to you, and then I'm going to give you an opportunity to do it on your own with minimal guidance. All right? So why don't you sit in a comfortable chair? I'm seated at my office chair here, but you can do this sitting anywhere. You don't have to assume a certain posture. You don't have to be all meditation-like, okay? Even though I meditate, this is not really a meditation. So just sit comfortably, okay? And it's best if your feet are flat on the ground. You can close your eyes or keep them open. I'll keep them open for the sake of keeping eye contact with you, okay? But you can do this with your eyes closed or with your eyes open. It really doesn't matter, okay? So the first part that we're going to cover is the silent part. And the silent part involves a type of breathing exercise. Some call it boxed breathing. I think that's a pretty good name for it, boxed breathing. And what it encompasses is this. You inhale for 4 seconds. And then instead of immediately exhaling, you are holding that breath for another 4 seconds. Then you're going to exhale for 4 seconds. And then you're going to hold that for 4 seconds before you inhale. So it kind of goes like this, okay? So in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. And then we start again. Let me just demonstrate it to you, and then you count along, okay? So when I start inhaling, you can, that's a 1, and then we'll go 2, 3, 4. So. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that was me doing 2 cycles of this boxed breathing. Now, if you want, it kind of you can visualize it as a square, like inhale 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, out 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4. And so if you have that visualization of a square in your mind, then you always know where you are. I do this on the, I use the inhale for the up, hold for the horizontal, exhale for the decrease or for the going down, and then across back over is our hold between exhale and. What this does, now you're not doing this, you're not counting this out loud because that wouldn't be silent. So in your mind, you can just, you can all count to 4. So you can do that on your own, 4, 4, 4, and 4. But there is no sound involved. But what is happening on the somatic level in the mind and in the body is that, this is not our natural way of breathing. We inhale, we exhale. We inhale, we exhale. And when our nervous system is overstimulated, we start breathing faster, like that, okay? So that only increases our blood pressure, it increases our pulse rate, our respiration rate obviously is elevated, and all of that triggers stress hormone releases. So what we want to do is we want to slow down our breathing so that our brain gets the signal that, oh, we're breathing a lot slower now. So we don't have to work as hard. I don't have to stimulate the heart to beat fast. I don't have to stimulate, these stress hormones from all your body organs, really, but mainly your adrenal glands that sit on top of your kidneys, your fight or flight hormones. So the silent part of it is actually instituting a slower breathing pattern. And this has a remarkable effect on the central nervous system and thus on the symptoms of anxiety. So we do that for 5 minutes. Now you can set a timer on your phone or your watch or whatever for 10 minutes and have a bell go off at the 5-minute mark. And so you're doing this boxed breathing for 5 full minutes. You're going to be slowing down actually because your mind is going to slow down. Your central nervous system is starting to be de-escalated, and therefore the chemical signals are also slowing down also. When that bell goes off after 5 minutes, then comes the sound portion of the technique, of the reset loop. Now this is very powerful. It may sound kind of woo-woo to you, But to me, it's pure science, okay? And let me explain it. So there is a sound that you've probably heard of associated with Buddhist chants or Hinduism. But anyway, it's just spelled O-M, Om. Okay. Now, Om, some religious sects say that it's a sacred word. That's not what we're here for. We're here because, and we're going to use this word because I have found that when I use that word vocally out loud, it will actually help also to de-escalate my central nervous system, bring it down a couple of notches. And usually I do this with my eyes closed, so I'm going to close my eyes when I do it. And you do not need perfect pitch. I certainly don't, as you will see in just a second. So you don't need perfect pitch. You don't need perfect pacing. You don't need perfect anything, okay? You're not trying to win a Grammy here. You are just trying to use this word over and over again, this sound really, this sound over and over again, and you're going to take your time with it just like we did in the boxed breathing, okay? So let me demonstrate what it sounds like. And again, I pardon me for my lack of perfect pitch. So that's not difficult, right? But what happens is your body feels this vibration inside of you, okay? And that vibration, when it's at a low pitch, you don't have to be really low, but my voice is a little bit low, so there you go. At a lower pitch for me, I feel that vibration in my chest. I feel it up here in my head, and to a lesser extent, I feel it all over my body, okay? Only because it's a vibratory sensation, and my body nervous system picks up on that. So every time that I vocalize Om, Om, and even hold that M sound at the end. So you could count it for 4. So you could say Om if you wanted to keep the 4 beats. So you could count out 4 times on fingers or toes or whatever you have at your disposal. And the magic, I use that word lightly, but the magic of the word, of the sound that we're making when we are by ourselves, okay, I wouldn't suggest doing this in the office with your door open, but at night when these thoughts are racing and you just want some calm, if you practice this 10-minute reset loop, as I've demonstrated, first with the boxed breathing and then with the Om chant or the Om sound, they work together in order to help de-escalate your overstimulated nervous system. And that in turn will then decrease the anxiety which is a result of your overstimulated nervous system. Now, I will tell you that this practice is not an instant cure. And, there is no cure for anxiety. All right, some medications will manage it. Some practices will manage it well, and this is one of them. However, you didn't all of a sudden wake up with all of this anxiety. You developed it and were conditioned to accept it over years and years. So a practice like this, if you practice it one time and you still feel anxious, well, that's like putting gas in your car and running out of gas and saying, what's the use? It's just going to run out of gas. Okay? That's a little silly too, right? So this practice, we call it a practice because you're going to be doing this as often as you want. It's up to you. If I were you, I would do this for the next 7 days, twice through, before you go to bed each night. And I actually do this a couple times a day. I do it in the morning when I get up, and I do it in the evening when I'm about to go to bed. And over the years, it has become a dependable tool at my disposal that I can use anywhere. So just to review, before we close the video, it is a two-part practice. Remember, the silent part is the boxed breathing, where we are inhaling for 4 seconds, holding it for 4 seconds, exhaling it for 4 seconds, and then holding that space for 4 seconds before starting the next inhale. And when you do that for 5 minutes, that will really help to de-escalate your nervous system's stimulation level. Then we go directly into the Om sound, okay? I call it a chant because that's just a better word, I think, the Om chant. And when we are doing the Om chant, we can do that for 4 or 5 seconds at a time. It depends on what you prefer. But together, they are a powerful tool for helping to reset and de-escalate. That's really the key. You're trying to de-escalate your central nervous system stimulation level. When that happens, anxiety gets decreased also, because anxiety is how we perceive all of that overstimulation and how it manifests. It can manifest in like the somatic type of anxiety that I get, the racing thoughts, overthinking. All of those are just symptoms of an overstimulated nervous system. So by using this practice and by practicing it daily, you can then target the cause of your anxiety. So that is my free gift to you. Again, thank you for subscribing, and let me know how this is working for you. And we'll go from there, all right? I'll send you some email over the next couple of days of encouragement and an email about some of the mistakes you might be making along the way. So look forward to those, all right? This is Baz signing off, and I hope that you take this practice seriously, and I hope you experience benefit from it as you go forward. All right. See you in the next video.